The security camera footage showed 3 empty wheelchairs lined up against the living room wall. And in that single moment, billionaire Marcus Chen's entire world shattered like glass hitting concrete. His hands trembled as he gripped his phone, staring at the screen with tears streaming down his face. The wheelchairs that had held his 3 daughters for 18 months, wheelchairs the doctors said they would need for the rest of their lives, sat empty. And across the room, his daughters were standing. Actually standing. Holding onto the hands of the woman he paid $15 an hour to clean his house. But this story does not begin with miracles. It begins with grief so deep that money becomes meaningless. It begins with a man who built a technology empire worth $3 billion, yet could not fix the one thing that mattered most. It begins with 3 little girls trapped in broken bodies, and a father who stopped believing in anything except security cameras and ironclad contracts. Stay with us, because what you are about to hear will break your heart, then put it back together in ways you never expected. This is a story about the moment when wealth meets humility, when surveillance captures the impossible, when a lie destroys a miracle, and when a desperate father must crawl on his knees to beg forgiveness from the one person he should have trusted from the beginning. The Chen mansion sat on 12 acres in Palo Alto, California, behind gates that cost more than most people's houses. The property had 23 rooms, an indoor pool, a tennis court, and enough technology to run a small country. Marcus Chen built his fortune creating artificial intelligence software that revolutionized online security. Every major bank in America used his systems. Every government agency trusted his encryption. He was brilliant, ruthless in business, and completely broken inside. 2 years ago, Marcus had everything. His company, Chen Tech Solutions, was valued at $4 billion. His wife Sarah was a renowned pediatric surgeon who saved children's lives for a living. And his 3 daughters, Lily, Emma, and Sophie, were bright, healthy 5-year-old triplets who filled the mansion with laughter and sticky fingerprints and endless energy. Then came the accident. It happened on a Tuesday afternoon in spring. Sarah was driving the girls home from their gymnastics class. A delivery truck ran a red light at 45 miles per hour and slammed into the passenger side of their car. The impact was so violent that witnesses said the car spun 3 complete circles before crashing into a telephone pole. Sarah died instantly. The doctors said she felt no pain, that her neck broke on impact, that she was gone before the car stopped moving. Marcus held on to that fact like a drowning man holds onto driftwood. At least she did not suffer. At least the last moments of her life were not filled with agony. But the girls survived, and in some ways, their survival was harder to bear than death would have been. All 3 triplets suffered severe spinal cord injuries. The impact crushed vertebrae in their lower backs. For 2 weeks, they lay in hospital beds connected to machines that beeped and hummed and kept them breathing. Marcus sat between their beds day and night, holding their small hands, whispering prayers he did not believe in anymore. When the girls finally woke up, the chief neurologist, Dr. Patricia Morrison, called Marcus into her office. She was a gray-haired woman with kind eyes who had seen too much tragedy in her 40 years of practice. She did not sugarcoat the truth. "Mr. Chen," she said gently, "your daughters will never walk again. The damage to their spinal cords is permanent. We've done every test available. We've consulted with the top specialists in the country. The neural pathways that control their legs are severed. Modern medicine cannot repair them." Marcus stared at her. "There must be something. Stem cell therapy, experimental treatments. I have money, unlimited money. There has to be something we can try." Dr. Morrison shook her head slowly. "I understand your desperation. Every parent in your position feels the same way, but I cannot give you false hope. Your daughters will need wheelchairs for the rest of their lives. The sooner you accept this reality, the sooner you can help them adapt to their new normal." Marcus spent $2 million refusing to accept that reality. He flew in specialists from Switzerland, Japan, and Israel. He enrolled the girls in experimental trials at Johns Hopkins and Mayo Clinic. He bought equipment that cost $70,000 per machine. Physical therapists came to the house 6 days a week. Occupational therapists, speech therapists to help them process the trauma. A child psychologist who specialized in grief and disability. Nothing worked. Not one thing. The girls remained paralyzed from the waist down. Their little legs hung useless and thin in their custom-made wheelchairs. Wheelchairs that cost $8,000 each. Wheelchairs with built-in tablets and ergonomic cushions and adjustable everything, the most expensive wheelchairs money could buy. But still wheelchairs. After 18 months of failed treatments, Marcus gave up. Something inside him died the day he finally accepted the truth. His wife was gone. His daughters would never run again, never dance, never climb trees or ride bicycles or do any of the 1,000 things that 7-year-old girls should be able to do. He threw himself into work with manic intensity. Chen Tech Solutions expanded into 6 new markets. Marcus worked 16-hour days. He took video calls at 2 in the morning with clients in Tokyo. He reviewed code until his eyes burned. He buried his grief under spreadsheets and contracts and merger negotiations. The girls barely saw him anymore. He hired nurses to handle their medical needs, tutors to handle their education, staff to handle everything else. The mansion became a cold place, all white walls and marble floors, and the quiet hum of medical equipment. Marcus told himself this was for the best. He was providing for his daughters, giving them the best care money could buy. But the truth was darker and simpler. He could not look at them without seeing everything he had lost. Every time he saw their wheelchairs, he saw Sarah's empty seat at the dinner table. Every time he heard them ask when Mummy was coming home, his chest cracked open all over again. So he worked. And he hired people to love his daughters for him, and he installed security cameras in every single room of the house. The security system Marcus installed was not normal. It went far beyond typical home security. There were 43 cameras throughout the mansion. Every hallway, every bedroom, every bathroom had a camera outside the door. The living room had 6 cameras from different angles. The kitchen had 4. Even the garage and outdoor areas were covered. Each camera fed into a central system that Marcus could access from his phone, his laptop, or the monitors in his office. He could view any room in real time. He could scroll back through recorded footage from any day in the past 90 days. He could zoom in on faces. He could turn on audio and listen to conversations happening 3 floors away. His head of security, Robert Yang, had tried to talk him out of it. "Mr. Chen, this level of surveillance is excessive. You're going to make your employees uncomfortable. Good people don't want to work in a house where they're being watched constantly." Marcus had stared at him with cold, empty eyes. "Then I'll find people who will. Install the cameras." The reason for Marcus's paranoia was simple. 15 caregivers in 3 months. 15 different people he hired to care for his daughters. 15 people he trusted with the most precious things in his life. And 15 betrayals. The first caregiver, a woman named Jennifer with excellent references, lasted 6 weeks. The cameras caught her stealing pain medication from the girl's medical cabinet. She was selling it online. The second caregiver, Maria, seemed perfect, warm, patient, experienced with disabled children. Then Marcus reviewed footage and saw her roughly yanking Emma's arm when the little girl spilled her juice. Saw her raising her voice and calling Sophie stupid when the girl could not solve a math problem fast enough. The third caregiver was secretly taking photos of the mansion's interior and selling them to celebrity gossip websites. Inside the tragic billionaire's home, the headlines read. The fourth caregiver invited her boyfriend into the house when Marcus was at work. The cameras showed them drinking Marcus's expensive wine and having sex in the guest bedroom while the girls watched television alone downstairs. Number 5 stole jewelry. Number 6 fell asleep during her shifts and left the girls unattended for hours. Number 7 was caught by the cameras searching through Marcus's personal files, probably looking for financial information to sell or use for identity theft. Number 8 lasted only 3 days before the cameras showed her screaming at Lily for asking too many questions. Number 9 had lied about her qualifications. She had no medical training and nearly gave Emma the wrong medication dosage. Number 10 was stealing food from the pantry and taking it home in garbage bags. It went on and on. Each betrayal carved away another piece of Marcus's ability to trust. Each lie made him colder, harder, more convinced that every person who entered his home was looking for a way to exploit him. By the time he reached caregiver number 15, Marcus had stopped hoping for anything. He conducted interviews like a hostile interrogation, background checks that would make the FBI jealous. References verified 3 different ways. Signed agreements that if they stole, lied, or harmed his daughters in any way, he would prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law and make sure they never worked in childcare again. The 15th caregiver lasted 1 week before Marcus caught her on camera, talking on her phone about how creepy it was to work in a house with so many cameras, how the psycho billionaire needed therapy, how she was going to quit as soon as she found something better. Marcus fired her that same day. He was done, completely done. He told Robert Yang to stop posting job listings. He would just hire agency nurses on rotation, medical professionals who came, did their job, and left. No relationships, no trust required, just clinical care. But Robert convinced him to try one more time. Just one more, sir. I found someone different. She's not a professional nanny. She's a housekeeper, but she asked if there might be any opportunity to help with the children. She seems different, genuine. Marcus almost said no, but something in Robert's voice made him pause. Robert had worked for him for 8 years. The man had good instincts. Fine, Marcus said. One more, but the same rules apply. Cameras everywhere. First sign of trouble, she's gone. That is how Rosa Martinez came into their lives. Rosa Martinez was 34 years old and looked like someone who had fought hard for everything she had. She was short, barely 5 feet tall, with work-worn hands and tired eyes that still somehow held kindness. She wore a simple blue dress to the interview, clean but faded from many washings. Her shoes were old but polished. Everything about her said, "I am poor, but I have dignity." She sat across from Marcus in his home office, her back straight, her hands folded in her lap. She met his eyes when she spoke, which most of the other applicants had not done. "Why do you want this job?" Marcus asked, his voice flat and cold. "I need the work, sir," Rosa said honestly. "I am studying physical therapy at community college at night. I work cleaning houses during the day. But I heard you have 3 daughters who need help. I have experience with children. I raised my younger brothers after my mother died. I know it is not the same as professional training, but I learn quickly and I work hard. The pay is $15 an hour for housekeeping duties. If you also help with the children, I'll add 5 more per hour. But there are rules." "Yes, sir. Rule 1. This house has cameras everywhere. You will be monitored constantly. If you steal anything at all, even a pen, you will be arrested. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir." Rule 2. The children are not your friends. You are not here to bond with them or become attached. You are here to provide care. Follow the medical protocols exactly. Follow the physical therapy routines exactly. Do not deviate from the schedule. Rosa hesitated. "Sir, may I ask a question?" Marcus frowned. "What?" "The children. They have lost their mother. They have been through terrible trauma. Do you not think they need love, not just medical care?" The question hit Marcus like a punch to the stomach. He felt anger rise in his chest. How dare this poor housekeeper question his parenting? But underneath the anger was something else. Shame. Because she was right, and he knew it. "The children receive excellent care," he said coldly. "What they need is consistency and routine. Not emotional attachment from staff who will just leave in a few weeks like everyone else does." Rosa looked at him with something that might have been pity. "As you say, sir. I will follow your rules. Rule 3. If I see anything on the cameras that concerns me, you will be fired immediately. No second chances, no explanations. Just fired." "I understand, sir." Marcus stared at her, looking for signs of deception, looking for the hidden agenda, looking for whatever flaw would reveal itself in a few days or weeks. But all he saw was a tired woman who needed work and seemed genuinely willing to help. "You start tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock. Thank you, sir. I will not disappoint you." She stood, shook his hand with a firm grip, and left. That night, Marcus watched the camera footage of Rosa's entire interview, looking for anything he might have missed, any gesture or expression that suggested she was lying. He found nothing. At 11 o'clock at night, unable to sleep, Marcus pulled up the live camera feeds. This was his nightly ritual, watching his empty house, checking that the girls were sleeping safely, making sure no one was stealing or plotting or doing anything that would hurt his daughters. The mansion was quiet. The girls were asleep in their specially designed bedrooms on the first floor, close to the medical equipment and emergency exits. Their wheelchairs sat beside their beds like silent sentries. Marcus watched them for a long time. Lily, the oldest by 3 minutes, who used to love ballet. Emma, the middle child, who used to climb everything and once got stuck. in a tree for 2 hours. Sophie, the youngest, who used to run so fast the other kids could never catch her in tag. Now they all lay still, small bodies in big beds, legs that would never carry them again. Marcus closed his laptop and tried not to think about Sarah. Tried not to remember how she used to tuck the girls in every night, singing them the same lullaby her grandmother sang to her. Tried not to remember the way she laughed, the way she made everything feel possible. He took a sleeping pill and waited for unconsciousness to take the memories away. Rosa arrived at 5:45 the next morning, 15 minutes early. Robert Yang let her in through the service entrance and showed her where to store her belongings. He gave her a brief tour of the mansion, pointing out the locations of the cameras. "Mr. Chen watches everything," Robert said quietly. "He's been through a lot. Lost his wife, the girl's accident, multiple bad experiences with caregivers. He's not a bad man. He's just broken. Be patient with him." Rosa nodded. "I understand grief, Mr. Yang. My mother died when I was 16. I had to become mother to my 3 younger brothers overnight. I know what it means to carry pain that does not go away." Robert looked at her with new respect. "The girls wake up around 7. Their morning routine is posted on the wall in each of their rooms. Follow it exactly." Mr. Chen checks. At 7 o'clock, Rosa entered Lily's room first. The little girl was already awake, sitting up in bed, staring at the wall with blank eyes. Her wheelchair sat beside the bed within reach. "Good morning, Lily," Rosa said softly. "My name is Rosa. I am here to help you today." Lily did not respond, did not even look at her, just kept staring at the wall with those empty, haunted eyes. Rosa's heart broke. This child had been taught not to connect, not to hope, not to expect anything from the adults who came and went from her life. She helped Lily into her wheelchair, following the procedure posted on the wall. The little girl's body was limp, unresisting, like a doll being moved from place to place. Emma and Sophie were the same, quiet, distant, going through the motions of their morning routine like robots. Brush teeth, get dressed, transfer to wheelchair. Go to the dining room for breakfast. The chef prepared their meals. A physical therapist came at 9 o'clock for their daily exercises. A tutor arrived at 10 for their lessons. Everything ran on schedule, everything was efficient, and everything was completely lifeless. Rosa watched it all that first day, her heart growing heavier with each hour. These children were not living, they were existing, moving through their days like prisoners serving a sentence. During her lunch break, Rosa sat in the kitchen and prayed quietly. "God, these babies are dying inside. Their bodies may be broken, but their spirits are being broken too. Please show me how to help them. Please give me wisdom." That afternoon, when the tutor left and Rosa was supposed to take the girls to their rooms for quiet time, she made her first decision to break protocol. Instead of taking them straight to their rooms, she wheeled them out to the mansion's back garden. It was a beautiful space with flowering trees and a fountain and stone pathways wide enough for wheelchairs. "The schedule says quiet time in bedrooms," Lily said. These were the first words she had spoken all day. "I know," Rosa said, "but it is such a beautiful day, and I thought maybe you girls might like to feel the sunshine, just for a little while." The girls looked at each other. Then Sophie spoke, her voice small and uncertain. "We are not supposed to change the schedule. Papa gets upset when people do not follow the schedule." Rosa knelt down so she was eye level with Sophie. "Your papa wants you to be safe and healthy, and sunshine is healthy, fresh air is healthy, so I think this is okay." She pushed their wheelchairs to a spot under a cherry tree. Pink blossoms were falling like snow. Rosa reached up and caught one, then placed it gently in Emma's hand. Emma stared at it. Then, slowly, the faintest smile touched her lips. It lasted only a second, but Rosa saw it, and hope flickered in her chest like a candle being lit in a dark room. Up in his office, Marcus was on a video call with investors in Singapore. But on his second monitor, the security feeds were always running. He saw Rosa take the girls outside, saw her break the schedule. His jaw clenched. This was exactly what he had warned against. Breaking protocol. Thinking she knew better than the professional care team, he almost sent Robert down immediately to correct her, but something stopped him. He watched as Rosa sat on the grass beside the girls, watched as she caught falling cherry blossoms and placed them in the girls' hands, watched as Emma, his middle daughter who had not smiled in 18 months, smiled. It was brief, so brief he almost missed it, but it was there. Marcus's finger hovered over the intercom button to call Robert. Then he slowly lowered it. He would watch. He would see what this Rosa Martinez did. And if she gave him any real reason to worry, he would end this immediately. But for now, he would watch. Over the next 3 weeks, Rosa established a quiet pattern of breaking Marcus's rules in the smallest, most deliberate ways. She did not abandon the medical protocols or skip the prescribed physical therapy exercises. She followed every safety procedure. But she added things, small things, human things. She hummed while she worked. Old hymns her grandmother taught her. His eye is on the sparrow. Amazing grace, blessed assurance. The melodies drifted through the mansion like prayers set to music. During physical therapy sessions, when the therapist stretched the girls' legs through their prescribed range of motion exercises, Rosa would kneel beside them and whisper encouragement. Your legs are remembering, Mija. Your body is listening. Do not give up hope. The physical therapist, a professional woman named Karen who had worked with the girls for 6 months, pulled Rosa aside one day. You should not tell them things like that. The doctors were very clear. False hope is cruel. These girls will never walk. Rosa looked at her steadily. I do not believe in false hope. I believe in faith. And I believe God is bigger than any doctor's diagnosis. Karen shook her head and left. She mentioned the conversation to Marcus during her weekly progress report. Sir, your new housekeeper is telling the girls they might walk someday. I've explained that this is medically impossible, but she does not seem to understand. Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. This was exactly what he feared. Ignorant, superstitious nonsense giving his daughters false hope. He pulled up the camera footage from that day's therapy session and watched. He saw Rosa kneeling beside Sophie, holding her small hand. He saw her lips moving, whispering words of encouragement. He saw Sophie's face, a face that had been blank for so long, show a flicker of something. Not quite hope. Not yet. But maybe the possibility of hope. Marcus closed the video. He should fire Rosa immediately. This was dangerous. Building up the girls' expectations only to have reality crush them again would be devastating. But he did not fire her. He told himself he was waiting to see if this became a real problem. But the truth was something else. The truth was that his daughters were waking up. Not physically. Their legs still did not work. But something else was happening. Something the cameras captured in fragments and moments. He saw Lily laugh at something Rosa said while they prepared lunch. Actually laugh. The sound was rusty, like a gate that had not been opened in years, but it was real. He saw Emma lean her head against Rosa's shoulder while Rosa read them a story. Saw her close her eyes with something that looked like peace. He saw Sophie ask Rosa to sing the hymn again, the one about the sparrow. I like that one. Marcus watched hours of footage each night, searching for evidence that Rosa was harming his daughters. Instead, he saw evidence that she was bringing them back to life. During breakfast one morning, Rosa started a tradition. She asked each girl to name one thing they were grateful for, just one small thing. The first day, they stared at her in confusion. Grateful? How could they be grateful? Their mother was dead. Their legs did not work. Their father barely looked at them. I will start, Rosa said gently. I am grateful for the sunshine coming through this window. It makes the kitchen feel warm and happy. The girls said nothing. The next day, Rosa tried again. I am grateful that I woke up this morning with breath in my lungs. That means God still has plans for me. Still nothing from the girls. On the third day, Sophie spoke quietly. I am grateful for the pancakes. They are good. Rosa's face lit up like Sophie had just recited poetry. Yes, the pancakes are very good. Chef makes them perfectly. What a wonderful thing to be grateful for. By the end of the week, all 3 girls were participating. Small things, tiny things. I am grateful the sun is shining. I am grateful for the birds outside. I am grateful Rosa braids my hair gently. Marcus watched this ritual on the cameras every morning. He told himself it was foolish. What good did gratitude do when their reality was still wheelchairs and paralysis? But he could not stop watching, could not stop seeing the small changes in his daughters' faces. Rosa also broke protocol with the physical therapy exercises. The official routine lasted 30 minutes per child, 3 times per day. Stretching, range of motion, massage to prevent muscle atrophy. All clinical, all professional, all done by licensed therapists. But after the therapist left, Rosa would quietly continue the work. She would sit on the floor with the girls and gently move their legs through the exercises again, and she would talk to their bodies like they could hear her. "Good morning, legs," she would say softly. "I know you are tired. I know you have been hurt, but we are not giving up on you. Every day, we will practice. Every day we will remind you how to work, and one day you will remember." She did this every single day, morning and evening. Even when the girls protested that it was pointless, that the doctors said it would not help, Rosa persisted. "The doctors know many things," she would say, "but they do not know everything. Only God knows everything. And I believe God wants you to walk again." Marcus watched her do these extra exercises through the cameras. He consulted with Dr. Morrison, the neurologist who had given the original diagnosis. "Doctor, if someone continues range of motion exercises beyond the prescribed amount, could it cause harm?" Dr. Morrison considered. "Not physical harm, no. As long as the stretches are gentle and within the normal range of motion, extra exercise would not hurt them." "But Mr. Chen, you need to understand no amount of exercise will repair a severed spinal cord. What your daughters have is permanent." "I understand," Marcus said, but he did not stop Rosa. The change in his daughters became impossible to ignore. They talked more, smiled more. They started asking Rosa questions about her life. Where did she grow up? Did she have children? What did she study in school? Rosa answered every question honestly. She told them about her village in El Salvador, about immigrating to America when she was 15, about her mother's death and having to raise her 3 younger brothers, about cleaning houses to pay for community college classes, about her dream of becoming a physical therapist so she could help people like them. "You already help people like us," Emma said one day. "You help us." Rosa's eyes filled with tears. She hugged Emma gently. "And you help me, Mija. You give me purpose. You remind me why I want to learn physical therapy, so I can bring hope to families who have lost it." Marcus watched this conversation on his phone while sitting in a board meeting. He excused himself to the bathroom and stood in the stall, wiping his eyes, feeling things he had not let himself feel in 2 years. His daughters were healing. Not their bodies, he refused to let himself believe that was possible, but their spirits. The girls who had been hollow and broken were slowly becoming children again, and it was all because of Rosa Martinez, a housekeeper who earned $20 an hour and broke his rules every single day. Marcus began researching. Late at night, when he should have been sleeping, he searched medical journals and case studies. He found stories of people who recovered from spinal injuries doctors said were permanent. Rare stories, 1 in a million cases, but they existed. He found articles about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new neural pathways, about patients who regained function years after their initial injury through intensive, repetitive therapy, about the power of belief and determination in healing. He found a study from a rehabilitation center in Germany where they had achieved a 32% recovery rate in patients with permanent paralysis through an aggressive program of daily exercise, electrical stimulation, and psychological support. 32%. Not impossible, not guaranteed, but not zero. For the first time since the accident, Marcus felt something dangerous stir in his chest. Hope. He immediately tried to crush it. Hope was dangerous. Hope led to devastation when reality proved it wrong. He had learned that lesson when he spent $2 million on treatments that failed. He would not make that mistake again. But the hope would not die. It kept growing, fed by every piece of footage he watched, every small improvement he saw in his daughters. One morning, exactly 4 weeks after Rosa started working, Marcus reviewed the previous day's footage as usual. He saw something that made him rewind and watch again. Rosa was sitting on the floor with Sophie, doing the extra leg exercises she did every day. She was moving Sophie's right leg, bending it at the knee, then extending it, talking quietly to the leg like always. "Good morning, right leg. We are going to practice again today. Bend. Extend. Bend. Extend. Your muscles remember this. Your nerves remember this. We just need to wake them up." And then, for just a fraction of a second, Sophie's toes moved. Not much, barely a twitch, so small it could have been a muscle spasm or an involuntary reflex. But Marcus saw it. He rewound the footage 15 times, zooming in, watching frame by frame. Sophie's toes moved. His hands started shaking. He grabbed his phone and called Dr. Morrison. "Doctor, I need you to come to my house today. I need you to examine my daughter Sophie. Something happened. Mr. Chen, we have discussed this. There are no sudden changes with spinal cord injuries. If you are seeing involuntary muscle spasms, that is normal and does not indicate—" "Please," Marcus interrupted, his voice cracking. "Please just come. Please look at her. I am begging you." The desperation in his voice must have convinced her. "I will be there at 2 o'clock this afternoon." Marcus spent the rest of the morning watching more footage, going back through the previous week, looking for other signs he might have missed, and he found them. 3 days ago, Emma's left foot flexed slightly when Rosa pressed on the sole. 5 days ago, Lily's knee seemed to resist Rosa's hand when she tried to straighten the leg. Not much, but some resistance, some muscle engagement. 1 week ago, Sophie had complained that her leg felt tingly during the exercises. Rosa had smiled and said, "That is good, Mija. That means your nerves are waking up." Marcus had dismissed it at the time. Tingling sensations were common in paralyzed limbs. They meant nothing. But what if they meant something? What if Rosa had been right all along? What if the doctors had been wrong? Dr. Morrison arrived at 2 o'clock sharp. She was a no-nonsense woman who did not appreciate her time being wasted. But she had delivered bad news to Marcus once before and felt some obligation to him. She examined Sophie thoroughly, checked her reflexes, tested sensation in her legs, had her try to move different muscle groups, asked detailed questions about any changes in feeling or function. Sophie sat quietly through the examination, her small face serious. When Dr. Morrison asked if she had noticed any changes, Sophie looked at Rosa, who nodded encouragement. "Sometimes my legs feel tingly," Sophie said, "like when your foot falls asleep and wakes up. It does not hurt. It just feels fizzy." Dr. Morrison made notes. "Any movement? Have you been able to move your toes or feet at all?" Sophie shook her head. "No, ma'am, but Rosa says maybe someday I will. She says God is not finished with my story yet." Dr. Morrison glanced at Rosa with barely concealed annoyance. More false hope from the uneducated housekeeper. She completed the examination and asked to speak with Marcus privately. They went to his office. "Mr. Chen, I found nothing significant. Sophie has some sensation returning in her lower extremities, which is not uncommon. Sensory nerves sometimes regenerate partially, even when motor nerves do not, but this does not indicate any possibility of walking. Her motor function remains 0. But the tingling sensation, that is new, right? That means something is changing? It means some sensory nerve pathways are partially intact or regenerating, but sensation does not equal function. She can feel tingling, but she cannot move her legs. And given the severity and location of her injury, she never will." Marcus felt the hope dying in his chest. Of course, the doctors were right. He had been foolish to let himself believe anything else. "However, Dr. Morrison continued, I will say this. I have never seen these girls as engaged and alert as they are today. Whatever that woman is doing, the emotional support, the encouragement, it is good for their mental health, as long as she does not push them too hard physically or continue giving them false medical hope. Her presence seems beneficial." After Dr. Morrison left, Marcus sat in his office for a long time. He should fire Rosa. She was giving his daughters false hope, making them believe in miracles that would never happen, setting them up for crushing disappointment. But he could not do it, because for the first time in 18 months, his daughters were happy. For the first time since Sarah died, they laughed and talked and acted like children instead of broken dolls. Was that worth the risk of disappointment? Was temporary happiness better than the truth? Marcus did not know, so he did what he had been doing for weeks. He watched, and he waited, and he prayed to a God he was not sure he believed in anymore. It happened on a Tuesday morning, exactly 6 weeks after Rosa started working. Marcus was in Singapore for a crucial meeting with potential investors. The time difference meant it was 3 in the morning in California, but he could not sleep. He opened his laptop to review some contracts. Out of habit, he pulled up the security camera feeds. The live feeds showed nothing. The girls were asleep. The house was quiet. But he decided to review the previous day's footage. He liked to check what happened when he was not home. Make sure everything ran smoothly. He scrolled to the afternoon session, 2:30 in the afternoon California time. The therapist would have finished by then. Rosa would be doing her extra exercises with the girls in the living room. Marcus clicked play and watched the familiar scene. Rosa sitting on the floor with all three girls around her, their wheelchairs lined up against the wall behind them. Rosa was working with Lily's legs, doing the gentle stretches and movements. Then Rosa said something to the girls. Marcus turned up the volume. "Mijas, we have been practicing for many weeks now. Your legs have been listening. Your bodies have been remembering. I think maybe it is time to try something new." "What do you mean?" Emma asked. "I want to see if you can try to stand. Just try. You do not have to actually stand. Just try to push up with your legs while I hold you steady. We will see what happens." Marcus's body went rigid. What was she doing? The girls could not stand. They would fall. They would get hurt. He grabbed his phone to call Robert Yang to tell him to stop this immediately. But something made him pause, made him keep watching. On the screen, Rosa helped Lily into a kneeling position on the floor. She positioned herself in front of the little girl, hands on her shoulders, steady and strong. "Okay, Lily, I want you to try to push with your legs. Try to straighten them. Try to stand up. I have you. You will not fall. Just try, Mija. Just try." Lily looked terrified. "Rosa, I cannot." The doctors said. "I know what the doctors said, but let us see what God says. Try, Mija. For me, just try." Lily closed her eyes. Marcus could see her small face scrunched up with concentration, her arms pushed against Rosa's shoulders, and then her legs moved, not reflexively, not involuntarily, intentionally. Her knees straightened slightly, her hips lifted an inch off the ground. She was pushing with her legs, actually pushing. Marcus's phone slipped from his hands and clattered on the hotel room floor. On the screen, Lily fell back down immediately. It had lasted maybe 2 seconds, but it had happened. "I felt it," Lily cried, her voice filled with wonder. "Rosa, I felt my legs. I felt them working." Rosa was laughing and crying at the same time. Yes, Mija, your legs remember. They remember how to work." "Let me try," Emma said, pulling herself forward. "Let me try." Rosa helped Emma into position. The same thing happened. Emma pushed with her legs, straightened them slightly, lifted herself perhaps 2 inches before falling back. But she did it. She actually did it. Sophie was crying now. "Me too. Please, Rosa, I want to try." Marcus was standing now, his whole body shaking, tears streaming down his face. He was in a hotel room in Singapore at 3 in the morning, watching his paralyzed daughters push themselves up with legs that were not supposed to work. On the screen, Sophie tried. She pushed hard, her little face red with effort. Her legs straightened more than her sisters had. She lifted herself 4 inches off the ground. 5 inches. She was almost kneeling upright before she collapsed back down. All 3 girls were crying and laughing. Rosa was holding them all, her face buried in their hair, thanking God over and over in Spanish and English. Marcus watched as Rosa helped them try again and again. Each time, they lifted themselves a little higher, a little stronger. Lily managed to hold herself in a kneeling position for 5 full seconds. Emma pushed herself up to a crouch. Sophie actually got her feet under her and stood in a squat position for a moment before her legs gave out. The girls were not walking. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But they were moving. They had motor function. The doctors were wrong. Rosa was right. Rosa had been right all along. Marcus replayed the footage from the beginning. He watched it 5 times. 6 times. He zoomed in on the girls' legs, watching the muscles engage, watching the intentional movement. Then he scrolled forward in the recording. He watched as Rosa helped the girls back into their wheelchairs. Watched as she made them promise not to tell their father yet. "He needs to see it for himself," Rosa said. "And we need to practice more. Right now you can only lift yourselves for a few seconds. But if we keep practicing, if we keep believing, you will get stronger. Maybe in a few weeks, you will be able to stand all by yourselves. Maybe you will be able to take steps. We do not know yet. But we will practice every day. This is our secret for now, okay? Our special secret." The girls agreed, their faces glowing with excitement. Marcus felt something break open in his chest. A wall he had built around his heart crumbled to dust. His daughters were healing, actually healing, and he had almost fired the woman who made it possible. He looked at the time. 3:15 in the morning. The meeting with investors was in 4 hours. He should try to sleep. But how could he sleep? His daughters had just performed a miracle. He called his assistant. "Cancel everything. Book me on the next flight back to California. I do not care what it costs. I need to go home." "Sir, the investor meeting. Cancel it. Reschedule it." "I do not care. I am going home to my daughters." 14 hours later, Marcus walked through the front door of his mansion. It was evening. The girls would be having dinner. He had not told anyone he was coming home early. He wanted to see it in person, wanted to witness what the cameras had shown him. He walked quietly toward the dining room. He could hear Rosa's voice, gentle and encouraging. "Just 3 more bites, Sophie. You need to keep your strength up if you want your legs to keep getting stronger." Marcus stopped in the doorway. All 3 girls were in their wheelchairs around the table. Rosa was serving them dinner. Everything looked normal. "Papa," Lily cried when she saw him. "You are home early." All 3 girls turned to look at him. Their faces were different than he remembered. Brighter, more alive. They looked like children again instead of broken dolls. "I wanted to surprise you," Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion. "I missed you." This was true, and it was also the first time he had said it out loud in 18 months. Rosa stood, wiping her hands on her apron. "Mr. Chen, welcome home. Can I prepare a plate for you?" Marcus looked at her, this short, humble woman with tired eyes and work-worn hands. This woman who earned $20 an hour and believed in miracles when no one else did. "Rosa," he said quietly, "may I speak with you privately?" "In my office." Rosa's face showed alarm. "Of course, sir." She followed him to his office. Marcus closed the door. They stood facing each other. "Mr. Chen, if I have done something wrong—" "I saw the footage," Marcus interrupted. "From yesterday. I saw what you did with the girls." Rosa's face went pale. "Sir, I can explain. I know you said to follow the protocols exactly, but I truly believe—" "They moved," Marcus said, his voice breaking. "Their legs moved. They pushed themselves up. Rosa, they moved." Rosa's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, sir. They are getting stronger every day. I did not tell you because I wanted to be sure. I wanted you to see real progress before I gave you hope. But yes, sir, your daughters are healing." Marcus sat down heavily in his chair. "The doctors said it was impossible. Permanent nerve damage. No chance of recovery." "The doctors know science," Rosa said softly, "but they do not know God. And I believe God has plans for your daughters that the doctors cannot see." Marcus looked up at her. "Why? Why did you believe when everyone else said it was impossible?" Rosa smiled through her tears. "Because I see them, sir, not their wheelchairs, not their diagnosis. I see 3 beautiful children who were told they had no future, and I refuse to accept that. I refuse to let them accept that. So every day I tell their bodies to remember. Every day I exercise their legs. Every day I pray. And every day they get a little bit stronger." Marcus felt tears rolling down his face. "I almost fired you so many times. Every time you broke protocol, every time you did something the doctors had not prescribed, I almost sent you away." "I know, sir. I saw the cameras. I knew you were watching. I knew you did not trust me. But I also knew your daughters needed someone to believe in them. Even if that someone was just a poor housekeeper who cleans toilets for a living." "You are not just a housekeeper," Marcus said. "You are. You saved them. You brought them back." Rosa shook her head. "No, sir. God saved them. I just refused to stop believing he could." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Marcus asked the question that had been burning in his mind since he saw the footage. "Can they walk? Will they be able to walk?" "I do not know, sir. Maybe. Maybe someday. Right now they can push themselves up for a few seconds, but they are getting stronger. If we keep practicing, if we do not give up. I believe they will walk again. I do not know when, but I believe it will happen." Marcus nodded slowly. He wanted to believe it too. But a lifetime of logic and reason fought against it. Even with the evidence of his own eyes, part of him could not accept that miracles were real. "I want to see it," he said. "Tomorrow. I want to watch them practice. I want to see what they can do." "Of course, sir. They will be so happy that you want to watch. They have been asking about you, wanting to show you. But I told them to wait until they were stronger." Marcus felt shame wash over him. His daughters wanted to share their miracle with him, and Rosa had to tell them to wait. Because Rosa knew Marcus might not believe, might not appreciate what they had accomplished. "Thank you," Marcus said quietly, "for believing in them when I could not." Rosa reached out and gently touched his arm. "It is not too late, sir. You can believe now. You can be part of their healing. They need their father. Not just his money. They need you." The words cut deep because they were true. Marcus had given his daughters everything except himself, and that was the one thing they needed most. "I will try," he said. "I will be here more. I will. I will try to be the father they need." Rosa smiled. "That is all any of us can do, sir. Just try. God will do the rest." Over the next 2 weeks, Victoria Hartwell became a constant presence in the Chen mansion. She arrived every morning at 9 o'clock, always perfectly dressed, always carrying expensive gifts for the girls, designer dolls, imported chocolates, things that cost more than Rosa made in a week. But Rosa noticed something the cameras would later confirm. Victoria only came when Marcus was away at work, and she always sent Rosa on errands during her visits. "Rosa, could you run to the pharmacy and pick up the girls' prescriptions?" Victoria would say with a sweet smile. "I will stay with them while you are gone." Or, "Rosa, the kitchen needs restocking. Why don't you go to the market? I will watch the girls." Rosa did not trust her. There was something cold behind Victoria's perfect smile, something calculating in the way she watched the girls practice their exercises. But Rosa had no proof, just a feeling in her gut that something was very wrong. On a Tuesday afternoon, exactly 8 weeks after Rosa started working, Victoria arrived earlier than usual. Marcus had left for a meeting in San Francisco and would not be back until evening. Rosa was in the living room with the girls, doing their daily practice session. The girls had made incredible progress. Lily could now stand for 15 seconds while holding Rosa's hands. Emma could take 2 shuffling steps before her legs gave out. And Sophie, beautiful, determined Sophie, could stand completely on her own for 10 full seconds and had taken 3 actual steps the day before. "Again, Sophie," Rosa encouraged. "You can do it. Stand up for me." Sophie pushed herself up from the floor, her small legs shaking with effort but holding steady. She stood there, arms out for balance, her face glowing with pride. "I am doing it, Rosa. Look, I am standing all by myself. Yes, Mija. Yes, you are so strong. You are so brave." That was when Victoria walked in. She stood in the doorway, watching with an expression Rosa could not quite read. "Hello, Victoria," Rosa said, keeping her voice neutral. "The girls are practicing." "I can see that," Victoria said, her voice strange, tight. "That is quite impressive, Sophie." Sophie beamed. "I can stand for 10 whole seconds now, and yesterday I took 3 steps. Rosa says, maybe next week I will be able to walk across the whole room." Something flickered across Victoria's face, something dark, but it was gone so quickly Rosa thought she imagined it. "Rosa, could I speak with you privately?" Victoria asked. "In the kitchen?" Rosa hesitated. She did not want to leave the girls, but they were sitting safely on the floor now, and the kitchen was just through the doorway. She could still see them. "Of course," Rosa said. "Girls, stay right there. I will be back in 1 moment." In the kitchen, Victoria closed the door. Her friendly mask dropped completely. "You need to stop," she said coldly. "Stop what?" Rosa asked, confused. "Stop this ridiculous charade. Stop filling those girls' heads with false hope. Stop pretending you are accomplishing something meaningful." Rosa felt anger rise in her chest. "It is not false hope. They are walking. You saw Sophie standing. You saw—" "I saw a child straining muscles that will never fully work," Victoria interrupted. "I saw you pushing disabled children beyond their limits for your own ego. Do you know what will happen when they realize they will never truly walk normally? When they spend their whole lives trying and failing? You are setting them up for a lifetime of disappointment and pain. They are already walking. They are getting stronger every day. In a few more weeks, nothing will change," Victoria said sharply. "Their spinal cords are permanently damaged. You are not a miracle worker, Rosa. You are a housekeeper with a high school education who thinks prayer can fix medical reality." Rosa's hands clenched into fists. "Why are you saying these things? Why do you not want them to get better?" Victoria's eyes narrowed. I want what is best for them, and what is best is acceptance of their condition and professional care from qualified people. Not false promises from unqualified help. You do not care about them at all, Rosa said quietly, realization dawning. You care about Marcus. You want him dependent and grateful. And the girl's getting better means he does not need you. Victoria's face twisted with rage. For a moment, Rosa thought she might actually hit her, but instead, Victoria smiled. A cold, calculated smile. Be careful, Rosa. You are just the help. Easily replaced. One word from me to Marcus, and you will be gone. She walked out of the kitchen. Rosa followed quickly, her heart pounding. Something was very wrong. She needed to get back to the girls. But when she reached the living room, her blood turned to ice. Victoria was standing over Sophie, who had pulled herself up to a standing position again, proud and determined. Emma and Lily sat nearby, watching their sister. Look, Miss Victoria, Sophie said happily. I can stand all by myself now. Want to see me take steps? Oh, I would love to see that, Victoria said sweetly. Then she bent down and picked up Sophie's wheelchair. But first, let me move this out of your way. You do not need it anymore, right? Since you can walk now. She rolled the wheelchair across the room, far out of Sophie's reach. Rosa's heart started pounding. Victoria, what are you doing? Just giving Sophie some space to show off her amazing progress, Victoria said innocently. Go ahead, Sophie. Walk to me. Show me how well you can walk. Sophie's face showed confusion and fear. But I can only take a few steps. I need to hold on to something or I will fall. Rosa says, You are walking, Victoria said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. So walk. Prove it. Prove. You are not just faking for attention. Victoria, stop this, Rosa said, moving towards Sophie. You are scaring her. Victoria stepped between Rosa and Sophie. I think it is time we see the truth. If these girls can really walk like you claim, let them prove it. Sophie, walk to your wheelchair. It is just across the room, 10 steps. If you can really walk, this should be easy. Sophie's legs were already shaking from standing so long. Tears started running down her face. I cannot. It is too far. My legs are not strong enough yet. Then you are not really walking, are you? Victoria said cruelly. You are just wobbling for a few seconds before falling. That is not walking. That is pretending. Sophie, sit down, Rosa said urgently, trying to push past Victoria. Do not listen to her. You are doing amazing. You do not have to prove anything. But Victoria grabbed Rosa's arm, her nails digging in. Stay back. Let her try. I want to see this miracle everyone keeps talking about. Sophie tried to take a step. Her leg moved forward, shaking violently. She tried another step. Her legs buckled. She fell, hard. Her head hit the corner of the coffee table with a sickening crack. Sophie screamed. Blood poured from a gash above her eye. Lily and Emma started screaming too. Rosa! Rosa, help her! Rosa shoved Victoria aside with all her strength and ran to Sophie, who was crying hysterically, blood running down her face. Rosa pulled off her shirt and pressed it against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. Call 911, Rosa shouted at Victoria. Now. But Victoria just stood there, a strange smile on her face. Oh my, look what happened. The poor child fell because someone made her think she could do something she cannot do. Someone gave her false hope and put her in danger. Rosa understood in that moment exactly what Victoria was doing. She had engineered this, made Sophie fall on purpose, and now she was going to blame Rosa. You did this, Rosa whispered, horror washing over her. You moved her wheelchair out of reach. You pressured her to walk too far. You made her fall. That is not what the cameras will show, Victoria said calmly. The cameras will show that you were doing dangerous, unqualified physical therapy, that you pushed a disabled child beyond her limits, that you caused this accident. Rosa felt sick. She looked up at the camera in the corner of the room. Victoria was right. From that angle, the camera had not captured Victoria moving the wheelchair, had not captured her blocking Rosa. It would only show Sophie falling while Rosa was supposed to be supervising. You planned this, Rosa said, still holding pressure on Sophie's bleeding head. You wanted her to get hurt so Marcus would fire me. I wanted him to see the truth, Victoria said, that you are dangerous, that you are unqualified, that you are putting his daughters at risk with your ignorant folk remedies and prayer nonsense. The ambulance arrived 12 minutes later. Marcus arrived 20 minutes after that, speeding home after Rosa called him in tears. He burst through the door to find Sophie being loaded into the ambulance, a bandage on her head, still crying. Lily and Emma were crying hysterically in their wheelchairs. Rosa stood covered in Sophie's blood, her face pale with shock. And Victoria stood calmly to the side, her expression one of concerned sadness. "Marcus!" Victoria rushed to him. "Thank God you are here. Something terrible happened." Rosa was doing those exercises again, pushing Sophie to walk across the room. The child fell and hit her head. "Marcus, I tried to warn you this would happen. She has been pushing these girls too hard." "This is exactly what I was afraid of." Marcus looked at Rosa, his face twisted with fury and fear. "Is this true? Were you pushing Sophie to walk? Did you cause this?" Rosa's mouth opened, but no words came out. How could she explain? Victoria had engineered everything perfectly. The camera would back up Victoria's story. She moved the wheelchair, Rosa finally said, her voice shaking. She moved it out of reach and pressured Sophie to walk too far. She wanted Sophie to fall. She is lying, Victoria interrupted. "Marcus, she is trying to blame me because she knows she made a terrible mistake. I was just watching. I came in and found her doing those dangerous exercises. I tried to tell her to stop, but she would not listen." Marcus looked between them. One woman was his neighbor, educated, wealthy, calm and composed. The other was his housekeeper, covered in blood. Poor, desperate. The paramedics wheeled Sophie toward the ambulance. "Sir, we need to take her to the hospital now. The head wound needs stitches. Are you coming?" "Yes," Marcus said. Then he turned to Rosa. "You are fired. Pack your things and get out of my house. If my daughter has permanent damage from this, I will sue you for everything you have." "Mr. Chen, please," Rosa begged, tears streaming down her face. "Please listen to me. I would never hurt them. I love them. She is lying. Please, get out." Marcus's voice was ice. He climbed into the ambulance with Sophie. The doors closed. The ambulance drove away, sirens wailing. Rosa stood in the driveway, covered in Sophie's blood, her whole world collapsing. Victoria walked past her, leaning close to whisper, "You should have known your place. You are just the help. And now you are nothing." Lily and Emma sat in their wheelchairs on the porch, crying for Rosa. But Robert Yang was already there, gently wheeling them inside, away from the woman their father had just fired. Rosa walked down the long driveway alone, carrying nothing but her purse. She had not even been allowed to collect her belongings. She was just thrown out like garbage. Behind her, the mansion gates closed with a final, crushing sound. For 3 days, Marcus stayed at the hospital with Sophie. The head wound required 8 stitches. She had a mild concussion. But the physical injuries were not what terrified Marcus. Sophie had stopped speaking. She had not said a word since the fall. The doctors said it was psychological trauma. Selective mutism brought on by the accident and the emotional shock. Marcus sat beside her hospital bed, holding her small hand, whispering apologies she did not respond to. Her eyes were open but empty. She stared at the ceiling like she had 18 months ago, right after the car accident that killed her mother. She had regressed completely, and this time, Marcus knew it was his fault. On the 4th day, Dr. Morrison came to examine Sophie. She ran cognitive tests, checked her reflexes, consulted with a child psychologist. Then she asked to speak with Marcus privately. "Mr. Chen, I need to tell you something important. Something I discovered when I examined Sophie's legs." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "What? Is there more damage? Did the fall hurt her spine again?" "No," Dr. Morrison said slowly. "Actually, it is the opposite. Marcus, Sophie has significant motor function in her legs, more than should be possible given her injury. When I tested her reflexes, she pulled her foot away from the stimulus. That is voluntary movement. Her muscle tone is much stronger than it was 6 months ago, and when I applied pressure to the sole of her foot, she actively pushed back." Marcus stared at her. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that Sophie and I suspect her sisters as well have been recovering. Actual neurological recovery. The kind of recovery I told you was impossible." "But how, doctor?" Morrison pulled up her tablet and showed him Sophie's old scans versus the new ones they had just taken. "I do not know how, But look at this. There is evidence of neural pathway regeneration. It is minimal, but it is there. Somehow, new connections have been forming, and that physical therapist or caregiver or whoever was working with her was facilitating genuine healing. Rosa, Marcus whispered. Rosa was working with them, every day, extra exercises, constant encouragement. She said they would walk again, and I thought she was crazy. She was not crazy. She was right. Doctor. Morrison looked at him seriously. Marcus, what happened that made Sophie fall? I need to know the exact circumstances, because if someone was pushing her beyond her capabilities, I do not know, Marcus said, his voice breaking. I was not there, Victoria said. Rosa was pushing her too hard. Rosa said Victoria moved the wheelchair and pressured Sophie to walk too far. I believed Victoria. I fired Rosa. Which one of them was supervising when Sophie fell? Both. They were both in the room. Dr. Morrison was quiet for a moment. Marcus, I have been a doctor for 40 years. I have seen many cases of caregiver negligence, and I have also seen many cases of false accusations. If Rosa Martinez was achieving this kind of progress with your daughters, why would she suddenly become reckless? That does not match her pattern of care. The doubt that had been gnawing at Marcus's mind suddenly became certainty. He had made a terrible mistake. I need to see the security footage, he said. The full footage from every camera. Back at the mansion that night, Marcus locked himself in his office and reviewed every second of footage from the day Sophie fell. He started with the living room camera. It showed exactly what Victoria had described: Rosa supervising Sophie, Sophie standing, Sophie falling and hitting her head. But something felt wrong. He rewound and watched again, and again. Then he noticed it. There was a 3-minute gap in the footage. 3 minutes where the recording jumped forward. Someone had edited the file. Marcus's hands started shaking. He pulled up the backup server, the one that stored raw, unedited footage that no one except him and his IT team could access. He found the complete, unedited version, and he watched Victoria move the wheelchair across the room, watched her block Rosa from reaching Sophie, watched her cruelly pressure a 7-year-old child to walk farther than she was capable of, watched her engineer the entire accident. Then he watched Victoria access the security system panel in the hallway, a panel she should not have known about, and delete the incriminating footage. But she had not known about the backup server. Marcus felt rage unlike anything he had ever experienced. This woman had deliberately hurt his daughter, had manipulated him, had destroyed Rosa's life with lies. He called Robert Yang immediately. Robert, I need you to do something. I need you to find Rosa Martinez. Tonight. I do not care what it takes. Find her and bring her to the hospital. Tell her I am begging her. Tell her Sophie needs her. Tell her I know the truth. Sir, I know where she is. I have been checking on her. She has been devastated, blamed herself for what happened. This was not her fault. It was mine. I should have believed her. Please, Robert. Please bring her to me. While Robert left to find Rosa, Marcus called the police. I need to report an assault on a minor and evidence tampering. I have video proof. Section 9. The truth comes out. Rosa arrived at the hospital at midnight, brought by Robert Yang. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She looked like she had not slept in days. When she saw Marcus in the hallway outside Sophie's room, she stopped. Fear crossed her face. Rosa, Marcus said, his voice breaking. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I saw the footage. The real footage. Victoria did this. She hurt Sophie on purpose to frame you, and I believed her instead of you. I failed you. I failed my daughter. I failed everything. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. Sophie, how is she? She will not speak. She has not said a word since the fall. The doctors say it is trauma. She has regressed completely. Rosa, I know I have no right to ask this after what I did to you, but please, please help her. You are the only one she trusts. You are the only one who can bring her back. Rosa wiped her eyes. Where is Victoria? The police arrested her an hour ago. She edited the security footage to hide what she did, but I found the backup files. She is being charged with child endangerment, assault, and evidence tampering. She will go to prison. Rosa nodded slowly. Then she walked into Sophie's hospital room. Sophie lay in the bed, staring at the ceiling with empty eyes. The bandage on her head was stark white against her dark hair. Rosa sat down beside the bed and took Sophie's small hand. "Mija," Rosa whispered. "It is me, Rosa. I am here." No response. Sophie did not even blink. "I am so sorry, Mija. I am so sorry I let you get hurt. I should have protected you better. But I need you to know something very important. What happened was not your fault. You did nothing wrong. You were doing beautifully. You were so strong and brave. You were walking, Sophie. You were really walking." Still nothing. Rosa began to sing softly, the hymn Sophie loved. "His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me." Sophie's hand twitched in Rosa's grip. Rosa kept singing. "I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free." Sophie's eyes moved, just slightly, toward Rosa. "His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me." And then, so quietly Marcus almost missed it, Sophie whispered, "Rosa, you came back." Rosa's tears fell freely. "Yes, Mija, I came back. I will always come back for you." Sophie turned her head and looked at Rosa, really looked at her. "My head hurts, and my legs. Rosa, I fell. I tried to walk like you taught me, but I fell and everything went wrong. I know, Mija, I know, but you are going to be okay. Your head will heal, and your legs, your beautiful, strong legs, they are still working. The fall did not break them. You are still healing. Papa was so angry. He sent you away. He said you hurt me." Rosa glanced at Marcus, who stood in the doorway with tears streaming down his face. "Your papa made a mistake," Rosa said gently, "but he knows the truth now. And he is very, very sorry. He loves you so much, Sophie. He was just scared and confused. But he knows now that I would never hurt you, that I love you with all my heart." Sophie looked past Rosa to her father. "Papa?" Marcus rushed to the bedside and fell to his knees. "Sophie, my sweet girl, I am so sorry. I am so sorry I did not protect you. I am so sorry I sent Rosa away. I made a terrible mistake, but I promise you, I will never make that mistake again. Rosa is coming home with us. She is staying. Forever, if she will have us." He looked up at Rosa. "If you will have us. I know I have no right to ask. I know I have hurt you terribly. But please, Rosa, please come back. Not just for the girls. For all of us. We need you. I need you." Rosa looked at this broken billionaire kneeling on a hospital floor, begging her forgiveness. Looked at the little girl in the bed who had suffered so much. Thought about Lily and Emma at home, probably terrified and confused. "I will come back," Rosa said quietly. "But Mr. Chen, things must change." "Anything," Marcus said. "Tell me what you need. Anything. You must be present. You must actually be their father. No more hiding behind work. No more watching them through cameras instead of sitting with them. They do not need your money. They need you." Marcus nodded, tears falling. "Yes. Yes, I promise. I will cut my hours. I will work from home. I will be there for them. Every day. I swear it. And you must trust me. When I tell you they are healing, you must believe me, even when it seems impossible." "I believe you. God help me. I believe you now." Dr. Morrison confirmed it. "Sophie has motor function that should not exist. You were right about everything." Rosa nodded. "Then I will come home." Sophie reached for both of them. Rosa took one hand. Marcus took the other. And for the first time in 2 years, they were something like a family. The autumn sun filtered through the windows of the Chen mansion. In the living room, 3 wheelchairs sat empty against the wall. Lily, Emma, and Sophie were walking. Actually walking. Slowly, carefully, with leg braces for support, but walking. They walked from the kitchen carrying bowls of popcorn for movie night. Marcus, Rosa, and the girls, all piled on the couch together. "Rosa," Sophie said, "remember when you first started working here and you told our legs they needed to remember how to walk?" Rosa smiled. "I remember, Mija. I did not believe you. I thought you were crazy." Everyone laughed. "I thought she was crazy too," Marcus admitted. "But you were right," Sophie continued. "You were right about everything." Emma leaned against Rosa's shoulder. "Are you ever going to leave us?" "Never," Rosa said firmly. "This is my home now. You are my family." Marcus walked to the window. In the garden, a monarch butterfly landed on a flower, Sarah's favorite. He watched it for a long moment, and he could feel her presence, peaceful, approving. She had been waiting for him to learn that the greatest wealth was not in bank accounts, but in the people who loved you enough to believe in miracles. "I am back," Marcus whispered to the butterfly. To Sarah. To himself. Behind him, his daughters laughed. Rosa's voice joined theirs, his family, broken and healed and imperfectly perfect. Marcus turned from the window and sat down. Sophie climbed onto his lap. Emma leaned against his shoulder. Lily held his hand. "I love you, Papa," Sophie whispered. "I love you too, baby girl, more than anything in this world." Rosa met his eyes over the girls' heads. This was what wealth really meant. Not the mansion or the money. This moment, this family, this second chance. Marcus smiled. He finally understood. True wealth is not what you build. It is who you become. And love that stays is the greatest treasure of all. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.